let's take the very first one, a spoon. What was the most important thing about the spoon? Ike?
That you can eat with it.
Okay. She seems to be saying what the important thing is, something that thing has to have, right? You have to be able to eat with it. So now let's think really carefully. Has anybody ever seen a spoon that you can't eat with?
No. No.
Can you imagine one?
Yeah.
So Trey, help me out. What would a spoon be like if you could eat with it?
Because it has a long thing and it has something on top, and you know it was a spoon because you had it in your hand and you know it was in your hand, and that's why you know it was a spoon.
Okay, I really like that answer, Trey. So Trey says, actually it's not about the size, it's that it has a handle and there's a shape on the end of the handle. What if there were a spoon where the scoop part was this big? Could you eat with that?
No. Your mouth could cut.
Ah, you couldn't get it in there. So, but with the big, giant spoon, could you eat food?
No.
But we recognize it as a spoon, right? Even if it's giant. So how do you know it is a spoon?
Because it's too giant.
It's too giant to eat with, but how would you know it's not just a rock or something else? How would you know to say that is a giant spoon?
The spoon is little.
But how would you know to say it's a spoon? Trey said it's about the shape of it. So maybe the most important thing about a spoon is its shape, not whether you can eat with it or not. Calvin?
A spoon's kind of like a shovel, but you eat with it. You eat with it.
So Calvin raises an interesting possibility. Could you, is there a difference between a shovel and a spoon? Wait, let's think about Trey's thing. Long handle, scoop on the end.
And it is a circle.
So is a shovel a spoon?
It was a spoon, not a shovel.
So what makes the difference?
It's not a shovel. That a shovel digs dirt out, and then a spoon you eat.
But wait a second, could you dig with a spoon?
A shovel digs up dirt and digs in the dirt. That's why you don't eat with a shovel. You have to eat with a spoon or a fork.
Because the shovel's dirty and you put it in the ground. But you can wash it, right? So if you needed to plant some little seeds and you didn't have a shovel handy, and there was a spoon, dig.
And you lost a shovel is something that you dig with, but you can't eat dirt.
Well, you can't eat dirt. That seems right. You shouldn't eat dirt. But could you tell the difference between the two tools, a shovel and a spoon?
The spoon we eat with it, but the shovel we dig with it, but we can't eat dirt.
But so is that just a chance thing that we happen to have certain kinds of spoons that we keep in the garden shed and certain kinds of spoons that we keep in the kitchen, and we call one thing and one the other, but really they're the same thing?
It's a different because like a spoon is a little different, but shovel looks a little same, but it's not the same size as the top. Having a lot with the spoon doesn't. And with the spoon you eat. With the spoon you eat it, but you eat the spoon with food, but with the shovel you don't. A shovel is big and a spoon is little, like a little seed. But a shovel is too big for eating food with.
So wait a sec, now maybe what I'm hearing is, well actually if you make a really big spoon, it just becomes a shovel. When it gets to be a certain kind of size. So it's kind of interesting, isn't it, that something that we all use all the time, it actually can be kind of hard to define what it is exactly. So the author says the important thing about a spoon is that you eat with it. Do we agree with the author on that then, given the little discussion we had? That's what makes a spoon is that you eat with it?
I was going to say, some spoons are big and some are not. When some are big, you can't even pick it up. And the some are small, you can pick it up.
So some spoons are so big that you can't even pick them up. So then you couldn't eat with them. But we still say it's a spoon.
I got food in my house. It is little And I ate it.
So this is interesting too.
I ate it late.
If you see spoons or spoons from a doll's house, they're really tiny little things. Could you eat with those?
No. You can eat.
But they're still spoons, right? Even though they're just itty bitty little things to go in a doll house. Because of the shape. So maybe Calvin talked about the size. Ivy talked about the shape when we first started. Maybe it's the shape of the spoon that makes it that. What's the most important thing about you?
It's special to be you and be a person that you can do, or you gotta be yourself to be something that you want to do. You don't have to be the same as somebody. You gotta be yourself as doing that what you want to do.
You've got to be yourself. And that's what she says. The most important thing about you is that you are you. That doesn't sound helpful, right? Until you say maybe the most important thing about you is doing what you really want to do. Is that what you would say, Ivy? So what are the things that make you different from everybody else? You're unique, right? You're one of a kind.
Some people have the same shirts, but some people don't, like other people. And you could worry about yourself and other people. If them get hurt, you can help them and help yourself too.
So I like some of the first part of what you said too. You could all have the same clothes. We could have a uniform policy and everybody has to wear the same clothes. Some schools are like that.
Or you can wear different clothes.
But even if you wore the same clothes, you would be different, right? You'd be different than Khadijah, who'd be different from Calvin, who'd be different from Asma, right? Even in the same clothes.
Different is me or them are different from me. Or I'm different from them.
So then the question becomes, what makes you different, Calvin, even if your clothes are the same?
You're there for yourself and your friends. You could be there for you even could be there for no one else you know. And you could be there for your family. That's being yourself.
So being yourself is being there for other people? That's an interesting way to think about it. I like that. Can you think about what makes you, you? So Ivy, what makes you, you different from Fatima? Yeah.
We do different things. We have a different house, and we're not alike, but we kind of do the same thing, like make friends, but we're not the same color, but we're still friends, and that makes us different.
So I like Ivy's idea that maybe one of the important things that makes you you is what you do and how you feel. So one question here is, like, when we think about a spoon, for something to be a spoon, it has to be a certain kind of shape, right? Or it's just not a spoon. This is not a spoon. Is this a spoon?
No.
Is this a spoon?
No. It sort of could be. Well, you could go like this.
Look at it. It has the shape and it has a handle, and I could eat with it.
Yeah.
I made a spoon.
I fell off a slide.
You really couldn't use that one as a spoon.
Yeah.
Trey.
The other one. And you could use it like a digger for dirt.
It could also be a shovel. So then to be something, whatever it is, a spoon, might mean that you don't lose the important thing about that. So if a spoon was run over by a truck and it's completely flat, is it still a spoon?
Yeah.
It is still a spoon? Even though it doesn't have that shape anymore?
It could be a spoon like this or like this. I can put it like this, and because if it's like this, you can't eat it better. You only can either like this or like this.
So it's interesting to think about how things can be themselves based on maybe their shape or what they do. Then they could go out of being that, but then you could bring them back, right, if you rebent the spoon. And you can think about this for yourself too, right? So if the most important thing about you is something you have right now, but the book says you're a child now, but you were a baby, and you're going to grow into an adult person, right? Are there things about you that change that you stay through, so you're still there?
Like when I grow up, Mommy and Daddy are gonna be different, but they're all gonna wait now because I'm gonna be older because all of us are still a child. We're gonna grow up to parents and then our kids will grow up to parents.
Will you still be yourself when you're older? Will you still be the same person when you're older?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though you look different. Is there something about you that has to be there as you get older for you still to be yourself?
Well, there is something that still could be there when you're older. Your parents can still be there.
Mm-hmm.
And your life can still be there.
I think Fatima raises a really interesting point. You want to say actually part of what makes us who we are is our relationships with other people.
I agree with Fatima and still don't forget that we still be ourselves if we're someone else, or if we're in a different class, we're gonna still be ourselves. You have to remain still and you're still yourself to our relationship to other people.
Mm-hmm. We have to get you to lunch because lunchtime will not change. It is. Yeah.
We're gonna go eat with a spoon right now.
That's right. Make sure you use your spoons. I know that they're spoons.